Hope everyone's doing well. Welcome back to another weekly outlook. So cool. You know, I would say it's not been a crazy week by any means. Usually a good way to sort of tell if the trading week's been something that we liked or didn't like. Usually a quick look at the daily candles. When I look at these daily candles, right, specifically Monday, not too shabby. Tuesday, not horrible, but overall there's not much expansion here, right? We sort of stayed in the same tight range, and even within the range we can see we had these weird wicky candles which might have made the read on price hard during the week, right? But from where the week has closed and how we're sort of set up now, I do like the looks of it. So before we get into that, just quickly, bunch of red folders on the Monday, which is good, starts the week off. Usually this is a Friday news event where we have all these PMI red folders. For some reason it's on a Monday today. I'm not complaining. I think it's great. It should essentially just give us a kick early to start the week off. Not much going on the Tuesday, right? Just a few orange folders, nothing crazy. Wednesday, GBP CPI is going to be one to watch for. Again, not much for the US dollar. Then a big mover for the US dollar. GDP, unemployment claims on the Thursday, and then of course you can see on the Friday we've got one red folder and a similar red folder in London session for the pound. Cool. As I just said, the day looks pretty consolidated, right? But let's zoom out. It's always good to zoom out. When we get caught up in that local price action, things can start getting a bit, I wouldn't necessarily say confusing, but a bit warped, right? I believe there's a level of sort of distortion when you're just staring at the sort of middle or lower time frames where you start saying, oh, this target, that target. It's always good to zoom out, have a look at that bigger picture and then come back in. So as you guys know, right, this was a big sell side target. We've taken this target and we've sort of just consolidated here. On the monthly, we've had a very big expansion downwards. We've traded through a monthly fair value gap. We've managed to hit a different monthly fair value gap, right? We've come out on the weekly. What we see on the week, again, very similar, hit that sell side target, swept the previous candle here, this specific week, and traded into this weekly fair value gap, right? And now, down to the daily, a bit more zoomed out though, is we know what we have in play, right? Or what we're looking for is a market maker sell model, all the way to these lows, right? We also know that we have quite a large range on price here, very large range as such, and we know we have targets high here. Now when I mark out this range, I'm just marking this out for sort of reference. I don't necessarily expect that price will reach into this premium. I am still focused on this daily fair value gap / the larger weekly fair value gap. I think it's a very big area that needs to be rebalanced. It was a massive one-way move, and what I really like the looks of is the fact that we have a massive consolidation below it, right? We have a big consolidation, price going sideways. It's accumulating right beneath, right, our high time frame PD area. I'm still after that scenario. We've been after that scenario, I think, almost 2 weeks now, right? If we go, the consolidation essentially started, right, from when we hit the target, 11th of March to today is about 11 days, right? So that's 11 sort of days we've just been stuck in this range. But from the looks of it, we've got a bit of a kick up now. And it wouldn't surprise me from here we start working higher. Now, if you guys watched the last video, which was the sort of midweek outlook and the trade breakdown, I think that came out on Thursday night, right? We were looking at this 4-hour fair value gap to provide higher prices. It's actually given us that. And as you guys can see from here, price is sort of, I would say poised to go higher. Now, the scenario that we are looking for is, of course, the accumulation, manipulation here, distribution this way. Going into the next week, I think the Monday will be an important day. I think we will get some sort of retracement into this range. I'm not expecting anything too crazy, but overall we want to see price dig higher this way before we get that reverse lower, right? Now, although we have this fair value gap marked, right, the daily fair value gap, it just acts as a sort of, target. That daily fair value gap represents some sort of buy side liquidity on a lower time frame. However, we know we have quite a large weekly fair value gap. So price can retrace deeper into this than we may expect. Now, what I would not like to see, right, considering the monthly close is a monthly fair value gap sweep, is some sort of crazy displacement this way. Right, I don't want to see price close all the way up here. If it closes all the way up here, then it starts making our bias a little bit shaky in regards to, is this a market maker sell model, or is this an IO fed here, right? From a sort of technical perspective, it will make things a lot less clear. I'd rather see that retracement to perhaps the daily fair value gap and not dig in too deep. And before the month closes out, price starts to, come down this way to then complete this AMD, and we have a very solid blocky monthly close to set us up for expansion in April, right? Expansion downwards on the DXY. Very similar on the bond yields. We spoke about this again on the Thursday. We just have large accumulation here. From here, what we want to see A, M, D, and then overall, this is a bigger accumulation to do at A, M, D. That sort of scenario, right? The particular array that we want to focus on, which is still on the cards, is this weekly fair value gap. We've got inside weekly candle, which of course shows a level of accumulation, which was already obvious to us when we looked at that lower time frame. So what I would like to see from here is price run higher, sweep this buy side once more, hit into the weekly fair value gap, and then from there we'd like to see a proper kick down, give us a solid kick down to then continue searching for lower prices on the bond yields. Because in the off chance that this monthly candle decides to kick up very hard, which I'm not really expecting, but if it does, then of course it is also coming off a monthly alpha, and it would put us in a scenario where the bias is not necessarily very easy or strong as I would say we have it now if price plays the plan. Cool. We're at GBP. Cool. So this is the thing that we were looking for in this week. As you guys can see, we had that weekly alpha, and this particularly here marked was a daily fair value gap that we've managed to hit into. We hit this area and we actually moved away quite nicely. Now from here, right, it's difficult to say whether this particular low will hold just now, right? There's a chance we can still come and sweep the previous weekly low, dig deeper into this, and then go higher. Now what I like is the fact that we have Euro and GBP folders on the Monday morning, right? Because with these folders, it's likely we'll get something clear, right? Either way, I'd say from here we expect higher prices, but there's a likelihood that we can still come and sweep the previous weekly low, the current previous weekly low, sweep this, dig a little deeper here, and then the reversal. But to me, this looks like a larger accumulation. This is the manipulation into a higher time frame PD array, and I would anticipate the distribution is this, right? One thing to bear in mind, and we did speak about this a bit more extensively last time, is that price is consolidated here, right? Although we're expecting that short-term reversal, back towards this area, there is the likelihood price can, decide it wants to dig deeper and sort of just stay in this range, because in the accumulations is where the price action gets very frustrating and, I would say sort of just unclear in a way, right? In, let's say you have good price action, or what we call good price action, when you see things like this, very clear, move away, wick away from a high time for PD already, you would expect price to continue that delivery this way. When price is consolidated, you sort of just hop about in that range. It gets very frustrating, but it's just something to bear in mind, right? Bitcoin. Then these are quite, I'll say shallow updates on the price action, considering that little update on the Thursday. There's not much that changed. Now on the weekly, what we can see, right, previous weekly high sweep and move away. We still have a day left on this weekly candle, so of course this could change a little, but we consider this candle a fair value gap, this massive candle down, right, because of that wick from earlier, right? Redelivered rebalance. Actually, let's zoom out quickly. We know we only have about 10 days left of the month approximately. Yeah, very ambiguous monthly candle, right? It's not, of course it's moved that way, moved this way, and now there's no body at all, right? There's not much to go off of here, and the daily is pretty consolidated here as well. We zoom in a little more, what we can see is we've had that accumulation, now had that run higher, which ran the previous weekly high, right? Sweeping the buy side, internal buy side, and now somewhat of a move away. Not exactly a great move away, because there's not much displacement in this rundown so far. But if price does decide to give a bit of a kick, then it's likely this is an AMD scenario coming from that weekly, right? Then look for lower prices. Essentially, big move down, retracement. This is the AMD reversal, and we're going to have a move back down to these lows for the time being. That's the sort of scenario I believe we are likely looking at for now. And lastly, essentially, I don't think much has changed. I know, again, we spoke about it. So inside weekly candle, very consolidated. Go straight down to that 4 hour again. And we can see still, you know, this is quite a large, or a larger accumulation building on price. Now, one thing that I would consider is, you know, we've hit the discount. We've had somewhat of a move away in our prices, you know, accumulating, and, you know, especially this little area. We just quickly mark this out. I would say is very prone for a liquidity sweep, prone for a run on liquidity, right? Why essentially triple equal lows, and you've had that initial move away. This is, you know, somewhat of a, let's say, an AMD reversal coming from the discount. If we want to sweep some liquidity, this is an area I would definitely be watching. If we can sweep these lows, I believe this would also sweep the previous weekly low, start moving higher from here, then it really sets us up for that market maker buy model to push higher towards these prices. But once again, as usual, until there's some solid displacement, a solid signal from price for us to, you know, act on it, there's nothing I would do. We know there's a chance, essentially, where it is, we're at the equilibrium, we can dig deeper. Of course, the base scenario is that we want to go higher, but we don't have a very solid reversal to go off of just yet. But this is the area I'd watch. Once price has run this, it's very likely that we will run this triple equal lows. Then from there, we can consider, okay, if we get a kick higher, it's likely to be a AMD. And if you don't, then it might work all the way down to this low before then giving you that, you know, AMD, right? Power 3. But yeah, guys, that is it for the weekly outlook. I'll be honest, the charts, you know, don't look too bad. I know we, as I said at the start, we've been sort of consolidated for 2 weeks. There's been some intraday trades, but nothing too crazy. The daily candles have been a little bit weird as well, you know, very wicky. You know, it's just what you get when you're in accumulation. So it'll be really great to see price finally break out of this range, give us a bit of an energetic manipulation this way. And then once we kick off that distribution, from when that high is placed, from when we place a solid swing high, especially on that daily time frame, then you have an easy bias all the way back to these equal lows on the DXY. Right, guys? So that is it for the weekly outlook. As usual, any questions, anything I can help with, just drop me a message.